Angela had always heard about Golden Heights Academy. It was the school of dreams, tall buildings, rich students, and teachers who wore suits and spoke English like they were born in America. Every time she passed the school gate, she would look through the bars and imagine herself walking through them one day. But she never thought it would happen until it did. The letter came on a hot Tuesday afternoon. Angela had just finished helping her mother wash beans for the next morning's sale. Their tiny room was dark, but her mother's face was glowing with tears. "Angela," she said, voice shaking, "you've been chosen." Angela blinked. "For what, Mama?" Her mother handed her a white envelope with the Golden Heights Academy stamp. Inside was a letter offering Angela a full scholarship, tuition, books, and even uniforms. She had recently applied when she found out about the scholarship for bright students. Being the best student in her school, she had decided to apply, but she wasn't sure she would get in. Now, holding the letter in her hand felt surreal. Her knees hit the floor. "Thank you, Jesus," she said happily. That night, her mother cooked the last yam in the house. As they ate with palm oil and salt, she held Angela's hand. "Never be jealous of others," she said. "Be content. You don't know what pain some people hide behind riches. Focus on your books. Your time will come." She nodded through her tears. The next morning, she stood at the gate of Golden Heights Academy, holding her mother's old leather handbag. The sun was still low in the sky, and the other students were just beginning to arrive, stepping down from air-conditioned cars, dressed in neatly ironed uniforms with shiny black shoes. Some had drivers, others had parents waving them off. She quietly stepped through the gate. Her uniform was clean as it was given to her by the school, but her shoes were too big for her small feet, and it has been patched more than once. She carried a stack of second-hand textbooks, most with torn covers and scribbled notes inside from unknown hands. She didn't mind. She was just grateful to be there, to be chosen at her dream school. Golden Heights was a private school for the rich. The school buildings were tall, painted cream and gold. The classrooms had air conditioners and smart boards. The dining hall served jollof rice with chicken, plantain, and even ice cream on Fridays. She had come from a boot street, where the houses were crowded and water came only at night. Her mother sold cooked beans and pap by the roadside. Her father had died when she was 6. They didn't have much, but her mother had raised her with strong values. Angela never forgot that. At school, she sat at the front of the class. She always raised her hand, always submitted her assignments early, but this only made most of her classmates hate her. Whenever they looked at her, they saw the girl with the old shoes, the one who ate plain white rice with no meat at lunch, the one who never joined school trips because she couldn't afford them. Some whispered and laughed when she passed. Others openly made fun of her. But Angela didn't complain. She just smiled and kept going. At break time, she would sit under the mango tree near the edge of the school fence, open her lunchbox, and eat whatever her mother had packed, sometimes boiled yam, sometimes gari, and groundnut. She would watch the other girls with their snacks and drinks from the school canteen. She never begged, never asked to join. She was content. It didn't take long for everyone in the school to start noticing her. She was quiet, but whenever a teacher asked a question, her hand went up. Not only did she answer correctly, but she also explained it so clearly that sometimes even the teachers smiled in surprise. "Very brilliant," her English teacher once said. "No wonder you got the scholarship. I'm very proud of you, child." Soon, teachers started calling her a genius. She was picked to represent the school in spelling bees, science quizzes, and debate competitions. She won medals and brought trophies back to the school more than once. Her picture appeared on the school board with a gold star under it. But not everyone was happy. The rich students didn't like that someone from the street was becoming the face of their school. They whispered cruel things when she passed. "She's just a scholarship girl, a mere charity case. She doesn't belong here. Why is the school showing her off like she's one of us? Maybe if we touch her, her poverty will rub off." Sometimes they moved their chairs away from hers. Some even told the teacher they didn't want to sit next to her. Angela heard everything, and it hurt. She would pretend she didn't care, but sometimes at home, when her mother was asleep, she would cry silently into her pillow. Then one afternoon, something unexpected happened. She was sitting alone under the mango tree during lunch, eating cold yam and red oil. She always avoided the cafeteria, as she didn't want the rich students to mock her humble food, although she didn't mind. But she wasn't cut out for such unnecessary drama. Then she saw Sasha walking toward her. Angela looked away quickly. Sasha was the most popular girl in school, beautiful, confident, and always dressed like she was going to a fashion show. Her skirt was short, very short. Her school bag alone looked more expensive than everything Angela owned. Angela assumed Sasha was coming to mock her like the others. But to her surprise, Sasha came and sat right beside her on the bench. "Hi," Sasha said, smiling. Angela looked up, confused. "Hi." Sasha looked at her lunch and then back at her. "Is it okay if I sit here?" Angela blinked. "Yes." The other students stared from afar. Whispers began immediately. Sasha ignored them. "You're really smart, you know," she said. "Like super smart. I wish I was half as good as you in maths." Angela didn't know what to say. Sasha leaned back and smiled again. "Don't mind them. They're just jealous. You're doing great." Angela felt her heart soften but also confused. Why would Sasha, the girl everyone loved, come to sit with her? Was this real? Or just another trick? From that day, things changed. Sasha didn't just sit beside Angela during lunch, she became her sitmate in class. Every morning she would walk into the classroom and go straight to Angela's desk. The other students watched in shock. Whispers flew around at first, but after a while they got used to it. And strangely, they stopped mocking Angela. They no longer moved away from her or whispered behind her back. Some even started greeting her with small smiles. Angela couldn't believe it. For the first time since she entered Golden Heights, she didn't feel like an outsider. She felt safe. She and Sasha started talking about everything: school, books, and dreams. Angela was always patient, always kind, and always ready to help. Sometimes Sasha would say, "Angela, I don't know how you understand all these things." And Angela would laugh, "I just love learning." Angela began inviting Sasha to study with her in the library after school. At first, Sasha didn't like the idea. "Library again?" she would complain, stretching. "You know I hate that place. It smells like chalk and silence." Angela would smile gently. "Just 30 minutes. I'll help you with the chemistry notes." Sasha would roll her eyes but still follow her, and little by little, her grades began to improve. Every time she passed a test, she would hug Angela and whisper, "You're the reason I passed." Angela felt proud, not because she was helping a popular girl, but because she was helping a friend. One afternoon, while they were packing up their books, Sasha opened up. "My dad travels a lot," she said softly. "He sends money but doesn't really check on me." Angela looked at her quietly. "My mum cares more about parties and clothes than about me. She says I embarrass her because I'm not as smart as the other girls in her club." Angela didn't say anything right away. She just reached out and gently touched Sasha's hand. Sasha blinked fast, then smiled. That evening, as they walked out of the school gate together, Sasha said something Angela would never forget. "Thank you for being my friend." Their friendship continued until graduation. Then everything changed. After graduating from Golden Heights Academy, Angela didn't throw a party. She didn't take pictures at fancy restaurants or post long messages online. She just hugged her mother, prayed quietly, and got ready for the next step. Angela got admission into a public university in a small town. It wasn't glamorous. The hostels were crowded, the classes were noisy, and the heat was sometimes unbearable. But Angela didn't complain. She was used to hardship. In her free time, she began volunteering at a small community school, teaching children who couldn't afford private lessons. She would carry her backpack and walk long distances just to teach them how to read, write, and dream. The children loved her. But even as she taught with joy, Angela was quietly building something big. In her third year, she started a small project with 2 course mates in the school lab. They wanted to create cheap medical equipment that could help hospitals in poor areas detect illnesses early. She worked day and night, writing code, building models, testing sensors. At first, it seemed like just a dream. But that small project grew. It caught the attention of professors, then doctors, then investors. By the time she finished university, her tech startup was already supplying equipment to several clinics. By her 23rd birthday, she was already a multi-millionaire, but you wouldn't know by looking at her. She still wore simple clothes. She still walked into classrooms to teach children in slippers. She didn't post luxury pictures online. The only things she shared on social media were updates about her charity work, clean water projects, school supply donations, and free health camps. Her occupation read, teacher. Meanwhile, she had lost all contact with Sasha. After their graduation, Sasha had gotten admission into a prestigious private university in the city, full of celebrities' children and politicians' kids. They had parted, promising to keep in touch. But somehow she has been unable to reach Sasha. Angela sometimes thought about her. She missed her laughter, her loud voice in class, and the way she used to defend her. But life had moved on. While Angela's life was rising quietly like the morning sun, Sasha's world was falling apart. In her second year at university, Sasha's father, a well-known businessman, was linked to a major fraud and money laundering case. This shattered their family completely. His company dropped him. His accounts were frozen. For Sasha, it felt like her world had collapsed overnight. The school fees stopped. The shopping trips ended. The drivers disappeared. Her mother stopped picking up calls, hiding from friends and church members. When she received her letter for a public university, she tore it into pieces. "I'm not going to sit in class with people who carry food in nylon bags," she snapped. She refused to be seen wearing regular clothes or taking buses. People called, texted, and tried to check on her, but she never replied. Instead, she changed her phone number and cut off all her old friends, including Angela. She simply disappeared from everyone's life. But she wasn't done. She dropped out of school and decided to build a new life, not a real one, but a perfect-looking one. On Instagram, she became someone else. She posted pictures in luxury cars, but they were rented for 1 hour. She took selfies in expensive hotels, but only used the lobbies. She wore designer dresses, borrowed from a stylist friend, never worn twice. Her captions were always deep. "If you don't know my story, don't judge my glory. Hustle hard, stay classy." But the truth was, she wasn't hustling. She was chasing rich married men, attending parties, always hoping to meet a man who would rescue her from her crumbling life. She smiled in photos, laughed in videos, and posted luxury at its peak on her birthday. She didn't feel guilty. In fact, she loved the attention, the likes, the fake compliments. And deep down, she never truly changed. Back in school, when she befriended Angela, it wasn't out of kindness. It was because Angela was becoming famous for her intelligence, and Sasha wanted a piece of that shine. She didn't like the way everyone's attention turned to Angela barely a week after she arrived. She told herself she was helping Angela feel less lonely, but in truth, she had always looked down on her. She hated the way Angela smelled of poverty and books, the way her shoes made squeaky sounds, the way she always had faith in things money couldn't buy. She had never respected her. Angela was just her way of feeling better about herself. But Angela never knew that. She thought they were friends. It was a quiet Saturday morning when Angela opened her email and saw it. Subject: Golden Heights, 10-year reunion invitation. She stared at it for a long time, her heart beating fast. 10 years. 10 years since she last walked the halls of that school. 10 years since the laughter, the mocking whispers, the mango tree lunches, and Sasha. She closed the laptop and sat on the edge of her bed. Her thoughts were full. She wasn't sure how to feel. She was rich now, very rich, but not in the way people expected. She didn't wear designer bags or post flashy pictures. Her car was clean and simple. Her clothes were neat but plain. Her life was peaceful but quiet. She never liked showing off. What if they laughed at her again? What if they used her simple lifestyle to mock her like before? That evening, she told her fiancé Justin about the invitation. Justin was calm, kind, and wise beyond his years.
A successful tech entrepreneur himself, he understood Angela's quiet heart. They had met just a few months earlier at a charity gala where Angela had spoken about youth education in rural communities. While others were showing off money and titles, Angela had stood there in a plain gown, speaking from her heart. Justin had been smitten by her simplicity, the way she smiled gently, the way she didn't try to impress anyone, the way she focused on helping others. They started dating soon after that. And 6 months later, under the stars during a visit to a school she had built, he proposed, saying, "I don't want to lose a rare gem like you, please marry me." Now, sitting beside her, he held her hand and said gently, "You have nothing to prove to anyone. Just be yourself. You shine without noise." She looked at him and smiled. Then she thought of Sasha. It had been so long, no calls, no texts, no explanation. Still, she missed her. She missed the way they used to sit and talk, the way Sasha would roll her eyes about the library but still follow her in. Maybe the reunion would be a chance to find out what happened. Maybe they could be friends again. She took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay, I'll go." Far away, in a busy salon in the city, Sasha was also reading her own invitation. She burst into laughter. Finally! Her makeup artist looked confused. "What's funny?" Sasha grinned. "Golden Heights is having a reunion, and I'm about to show them what success looks like." She had already begun planning. The dress would be borrowed from a high-end boutique. The shoes, the purse, even the perfume, everything would scream glamour. And if money wasn't enough, she was ready to do whatever it took, even sleeping with another sugar daddy. She was already making calls, setting up a photo shoot to flood her Instagram before the event. More likes, more followers, more noise. "This is my moment," she whispered to herself, looking in the mirror. Let them see who Sasha has become. She had no idea who else would be coming. Not even a single thought of Angela crossed her mind. Not yet. All she cared about was showing off. The day of the reunion came quickly. The restaurant glittered with lights, music played softly in the background, and excited voices filled the air as old classmates hugged and laughed, trying to catch up with each other after so many years. Then, the front doors swung open. Sasha stepped in. Her borrowed gown shimmered like gold under the lights. Around her neck and wrists were fake gold chains, big and bold, pretending to be real. She waved at everyone like a queen, her makeup thick, her heels high. Outside, a rented black Benz waited in front of the building. Driver paid for just 2 hours. Phones went up immediately. "Sasha, wow, you look stunning. Please, let's take a selfie. You haven't changed at all." Sasha smiled proudly, striking poses like a movie star. Someone asked, "So what's your secret? You look like you're living the life." Sasha gave a loud laugh and flipped her hair. "Well, when you're dating a billionaire, life becomes soft." The crowd gasped. "Wait, which billionaire?" someone asked. She smiled wider. Justin Okoji, the tech genius everyone talks about." Mouths dropped open. Justin was famous. The richest young tech CEO in the country. Private, powerful, rarely seen. "No way," a classmate shouted. "You're dating Justin?" Sasha nodded, pulling out her phone. "See for yourself." She showed them pictures, heavily edited and photoshopped images of her standing close to Justin, one where she pasted their faces beside a beach scene, another where it looked like he was kissing her forehead. People crowded around her. "Wow, you're living the dream. Girl, you have arrived. Sasha, you're untouchable." She soaked in their praise like perfume. Then someone asked, "Have you seen Angela? She used to be your best friend, right?" Sasha burst into laughter. "Angela? She's probably in a dump somewhere, still wearing her long skirt and faded sandals. I cut her off a very long time ago. The moment she got admission into a local school, I knew we were done." Another girl, Linda, joined in. "You won't believe this. I saw her Facebook profile recently. She's a primary school teacher now." The group roared with laughter. "A primary school teacher? Probably in a small village school with dirty village children." "Of course, poor people always remain poor. I wonder why that scholarship girl felt like she could outshine us." "Maybe she teaches under a mango tree." "I'm not surprised. She always looked like she came straight from the farm."
Sasha laughed with them, tossing her curls. Not once did she pause to think that truth has a way of walking in when lies are at their loudest. The laughter was still ringing in the air when the door quietly opened again. Angela stepped inside. She wore a simple, long, sky blue gown. Her hair was neatly tied back, and her shoes were plain flats with a little dust on them. She held a small brown purse, no makeup, no jewelry, just peace on her face and a soft smile. For a moment, no one noticed her. Then Linda turned and whispered loudly, "Is that who I think it is?" Everyone is shocked she even showed up. Sasha followed her gaze, and her smile faded into a sneer. "Angela?" she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Wow, you really came." Others turned to look. Some snickered. "Is that her real dress? She looks like a school matron. Did she come in a public bike or a bus? No car, no driver. She really hasn't changed. I guess being a secondary school genius doesn't make you rich in the real world." Angela heard every word. Still, she walked forward calmly, her heart beating fast, but her voice steady. "Sasha," she said gently, "I'm so happy to see you." She opened her arms and moved in for a hug with a big smile on her face. But Sasha stepped back sharply, waving her hand in the air like Angela was smoke. "Please don't stain me with your village perfume," Sasha said, frowning. "What's that smell?" Angela paused, stunned. I just came from church," she said softly. "I thought maybe we could catch up. I've missed you." She brought out her second phone, a small Android phone, and smiled. "Can I have your number?" Sasha let out a loud laugh. "With that phone? Please, this isn't 2010. You couldn't even get an iPhone." The others joined her. "See her phone. Does it even have WhatsApp? Angela, are you still living in the same one room with your mom? I bet she still eats gari every day." Angela stood quietly, her smile slowly fading. She had expected many things, but not this. Not from Sasha. Not from the girl who once sat beside her in class, who walked with her when others mocked her. Angela looked down at her feet, then back at Sasha's face. "Okay," she whispered. "It's all right." Because sometimes the deepest cuts don't come from strangers. They come from the ones we once called friends. The music played softly. Laughter had returned to the room, and the waiters began to move from table to table, pouring glasses of wine into crystal goblets. It wasn't just any wine. It was Chateau de la Rose, the kind only served to VIPs. The label alone made a few people pull out their phones for photos. "Wow," someone whispered. "This bottle costs hundreds of thousands." "Must be Sasha," Linda said quickly, smiling at her. "You're too generous." Others raised their glasses towards Sasha. "To Sasha for treating us." Sasha grinned and lifted her own glass, although she knew the wine wasn't from her. She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. She liked the praise, the admiration, the feeling of being back on top. Angela watched it all from her corner table and smiled quietly. She remembered Justin's words before she left the house. "I've arranged something small for your old classmates. Nothing loud, just a little treat." He hadn't said more, but now she knew. This wine, this quiet surprise was from him. He was a VIP in the hotel. His name alone carried weight. He must have made a call. Angela said nothing. She sipped her wine slowly and enjoyed the moment, but it didn't last. Just as she reached for a second glass, Linda looked over and rolled her eyes. "Careful," she said loudly. "That bottle alone can buy your whole family's house in the village." More laughter followed. "Angela, do you even know the price of this wine? Your whole salary as a village school teacher wouldn't cover it, even if you saved your whole life. She should carry her pauper self and go." Angela placed the glass down without a word. But Sasha wasn't done. She stood up slowly, her eyes on Angela, her heels clicking against the floor. She picked up her half-full wine glass and walked over. Angela looked up, still calm. Sasha stared at her, smiled coldly, and said loudly, "Since you love this wine so much, let me help you wear it." Before anyone could stop her, she poured the wine over Angela's head. Gasps filled the room. The red liquid soaked Angela's hair, her simple gown, and ran down her arms. The room went silent. Angela closed her eyes. Her chest rose and fell slowly. But still, she said nothing. Sasha dropped the glass on the table with a proud smirk. "She stinks of poverty," she said. "I'm just helping to wash it off." Then the main doors opened, and everything changed. A man stepped in, tall, well-dressed, quiet in his steps, but powerful in his presence. The waiters froze. The manager followed him, hands clasped respectfully.
And every single person in the room gasped. Because standing at the door, eyes scanning the room, was none other than Justin Okoji. Justin had always wanted to make their relationship public. But Angela, she was different. She liked quiet places, soft moments, and a life far from noise. No announcements, no flashy posts, just purpose. So, he respected that, but today was different. He had just finished a business meeting nearby when he decided to surprise her and pick her up from the reunion. He wanted to see her smile, maybe even catch a glimpse of her school friends. But what he walked into wasn't laughter or joy. It was cruelty. And just in time to see Sasha pour wine over the woman he loved. Angela stood still, dripping red, silent in shame. Something inside Justin snapped. If Angela wouldn't act, he would. As he stepped deeper into the room, then Linda gasped. "Wait, isn't that Justin? The real Justin Okoji?" Sasha turned slowly, completely shocked as she wondered why he was there. But she decided to take advantage of the opportunity anyway. She adjusted her dress and rushed forward, her voice suddenly sweet. "Justin, baby, I didn't know you were coming here." Before she could finish, Justin walked right past her, straight to Angela. Without saying a word, he wrapped his arms around her. Angela looked up, surprised. Her eyes were still wet. He wiped a drop from her cheek and whispered softly, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Sorry I'm late, love." Gasps exploded around the room. Someone dropped their glass. Sasha stood frozen, mouth open, but no words came out. "Wait, what's happening?" someone whispered. Justin turned slowly, still holding Angela's hand, and faced the entire room. His voice was calm, but firm. "Meet my fiancée, Angela Okoro, expert in medical equipment, CEO of one of Africa's fastest-growing health tech companies, a classy, simple woman who doesn't flaunt, because she doesn't need to." Silence fell like a heavy blanket. One by one, classmates started pulling out their phones, searching her name, and there it was. Photos from tech summits, interviews on CNN Africa, her name listed as a Forbes-featured entrepreneur, her company logo beside clinics and hospitals in over 10 countries. "Angela Okoro," one classmate read aloud. She's a billionaire?" Sasha stood like stone, shaking slightly. All the classmates who had mocked Angela just minutes ago slowly lowered their eyes.
Their laughter was gone, replaced by the shame of ignorance. Angela looked around. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just reached for a napkin and calmly wiped her face. The truth had spoken, and she hadn't needed to say a single word. The room was frozen. No one moved. No one breathed. Sasha still stood in the same spot, her arms limp at her sides. Her eyes searched the faces around her, hoping someone would speak up for her, defend her. But no one did. I didn't say I was his fiancée, you all just assumed," she stammered. "The pictures were just edited for fun." Linda whispered. "But you said he was your man." Others started to murmur. "You showed us photos. You let us believe it. You laughed when we insulted Angela." Just as Sasha opened her mouth to respond, the restaurant doors burst open again. A loud, angry voice filled the room. "There you are, you shameless whore!" A woman stormed in, her wrapper flying behind her and heels clapping loudly against the tiles. She was older but strong, and her eyes were red with rage. In one hand, she held a phone. Sasha tried to run, but the woman grabbed her by the hair and yanked hard. Guests screamed, chairs scattered. Angela and some classmates rushed forward to separate them.
"Stop! Please! What's going on?" Angela said. The woman shoved her phone forward. Ask her why she's sleeping with my husband." She opened the gallery. "Maybe you should look at this," the woman said, handing her phone to Angela. There they were, Sasha and a middle-aged man walking into a hotel room, kissing in the hallway, smiling at dinner. Sasha in the same dress she wore in her social media photos. "Your rich lifestyle, your bags, your parties, they are all paid for by other women's husbands," the woman shouted. The entire hall went silent again. Sasha dropped to her knees. "No, please, it's not what it looks like." But the damage was done. Everyone backed away. The classmates who once praised her were now shaking their heads in disgust. "I can't believe we looked up to her. All that shine, fake. Angela, we're so sorry, truly." Angela stepped forward, still calm, still kind. "I've been working on my startup since my 3rd year in school," she said softly. "It wasn't easy. There were times I failed, times I cried, but I never gave up. And now, I run multiple companies across the continent." She paused and looked at Sasha. "I came here today excited, because I thought I'd see my old friend. I missed her. I hoped we could laugh again, maybe remember the days under the mango tree." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "But it turns out, she was never really my friend at all." Sasha couldn't speak. The same girl she laughed at was now richer, wiser, more respected, and more loved than her. She looked up through teary eyes at Angela, and in that moment she realized she could never compete. Maybe she shouldn't have tried in the first place. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse for Sasha, the door opened again. A man walked in, short, sweaty, and angry, waving a piece of paper in the air. "There she is!" he shouted. "That's the thief I've been looking for!" Sasha looked up, her eyes wide with panic. "Mr. Coyote?" she whispered. He stormed toward her, ignoring the stares of the shocked guests. "You took my iPhone 15 Pro Max and said you would send the money the next day. That was 2 months ago," he yelled. I was going to pay," Sasha stammered, backing away. "Lies! If so, why have you been ignoring my calls? Now I've found you." Before anyone could stop him, he snatched the phone out of her hand. "Let go!" Sasha screamed, but he already had it. He reached for her necklace, fake gold, but borrowed from his shop too, and pulled it off. Guests gasped. Then, as if to finish what was already broken, he looked down at her shoes. "These heels too," he said. "I rented them to you for a photo shoot. You said it was just for 2 hours." "No, please!" Sasha cried, grabbing his hand. "Not here! Don't do this to me here!" But the man bent down and took off her shoes, one by one, leaving her standing barefoot on the cold tile floor. She collapsed onto a chair, shaking. No one said a word. The same people who had clapped for her earlier now couldn't meet her eyes. Angela stood quietly to the side, not smiling, not gloating, just watching. One classmate whispered, "She even rented her life?" Another turned to Angela and said softly, "Angela, you never changed. You're still pure-hearted. We were just too blind to see it." She gave a small smile and bowed her head. All around her, the truth was settling in like heavy rain. The tables had turned. Sasha, once the loudest in the room, was now the quietest. No fame, no followers, no shoes. Just the weight of her own choices pressing down. That night, Sasha returned to her tiny rented room, tucked away behind a noisy mechanic workshop. The walls were stained, the fan creaked loudly, and her mattress sat on the bare floor. She sat in silence. She unlocked her phone and scrolled through old photos, real ones. Pictures from school days, she and Angela, laughing near the mango tree. Her in her uniform, no makeup, no filters, just youth and light in her eyes. She wiped a tear. She tried to call Angela, but then remembered she had refused to give her number.
Heart pounding, she searched for Angela's company online and found the address. The next morning, she dressed in the only neat clothes she had left and made her way there. The receptionist at the front desk looked her over carefully. "I need to see Angela," Sasha said softly. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I'm her classmate. I'm sorry," the receptionist interrupted politely. "She's fully booked for the next 4 months." Sasha sighed and turned to leave. But just as she stepped outside, she saw Angela walking toward the entrance. Their eyes met. Sasha froze. Then slowly she fell to her knees on the pavement in front of everyone. "Angela, please," she whispered, voice breaking. "I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry." Angela stood still. "I was jealous," Sasha sobbed. "You were everything I could never be. Pure, strong, content. And I couldn't stand it. I thought I had to look rich to be somebody. But I lost myself chasing lies. I'm alone. And I need help." There was no crowd. No laughter. Just truth. Angela walked forward, helped Sasha to her feet and looked into her eyes. "I forgive you." Sasha wept into her hands. Angela continued gently but firmly. "You need to start again. Go back to school. Be honest with yourself. You can still change." She handed Sasha a small envelope. "Here's an offer, a job at my foundation. Nothing fancy, but it's honest work." Sasha nodded, still shaking. "Thank you." Angela smiled. "We may not be close again, but I want to see you rise for real this time." After that day, Sasha truly began to change. She deleted all her fake social media accounts. No more filters, no more lies. She began working in Angela's foundation, quietly, humbly, step by step. She enrolled in evening classes, slowly rebuilding her life. Angela returned to her peaceful world, building clinics, teaching children, and leading with quiet grace. She and Justin began to plan their wedding, simple, elegant, filled with love and meaning. And so the story ends, not with glitter or drama, but with a quiet, powerful truth. Humility, contentment, and integrity will outlast all fleeting illusions of status. Always.